Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Today on The Young and the Restless, Tracy learns Jack and Diane are through. Nick shares Phyllis' suspicions with Sharon, and Daniel tells Lucy she must leave for Vancouver. All products and services featured are independently chosen by editors. However, Soaps.com may receive a commission on orders placed through its retail links, and the retailer may receive certain auditable data for accounting purposes. At the Abbott mansion, Diane is carrying heavy luggage down the stairs. Tracy assumes she's going on a last-minute trip. Diane explains she's actually leaving at Jack's request. He asked her to move out tonight. Tracy's jaw drops as Jack joins them. This all seems crazy to his sister. Jack says it really is that bad. All they do is fight. His sister suggests they are just having a rough patch and reminds them of how in love they were a month ago. The couple recounts their latest public meltdown. Diane refuses to defend herself anymore. Her husband declares that all they have is a lie. She's broken his heart and their marriage. He thinks they should get an annulment. Diane insists she loves him, and Tracy reminds them that they made vows to love and honor one another. There must be a way to work this out. Diane fears there's no way to fix this. Jack stares at his nails and tells his wife that he hopes she doesn't stop by the office. Once Diane is gone, Jack declares he's well rid of her. The marriage was just a means to an end for her. His sister thinks he's hurt. People fight and it gets ugly, but you don't just throw a marriage away. Jack reminds Tracy that she had warned him about Diane not so long ago. Tracy explains it was before she could see the love between them, and what a miracle their reunion was. Jack knows his sister spins love stories out of thin air. Tracy insists this is real, but he argues that his wife is everything people warned him against. Kyle arrives at the Abbott house and Jack tells his son his marriage is over and he's asked Diane to leave Jabot. Kyle guesses she's no longer co-CEO and isn't sure how to feel. Jack assumes he's thrilled to watch his parents' relationship implode. Kyle admits that they had it coming. He wonders what caused the sudden shift in his father's perspective, but then claims he doesn't care. Tracy tells Kyle he can't talk about his parents like this. Kyle says his parents don't care about his feelings and vice versa. They betrayed him. He urges his aunt to steer clear of them and walks out. Tracy hugs Jack and tells him how sorry she is. She can't understand what went so wrong so fast. Jack claims he was living in denial, but his sister thinks he could see the truth about Diane before the rest of them. He knew in his heart that she was sincere. Tracy refuses to believe that they were all fools. Diane really did change. Pouring himself some water, Jack says his doubts started when he saw how she reacted to Kyle stealing from Jabot. She was so vicious, as though her son was a common thief. Diane wouldn't even allow him to suggest that part of the blame was on them. Tracy urges him to let the dust settle before anything happens that can't be undone. Jack urges her to stay out of it. It's much deeper than she knows. Lucy is with Daniel at Society, wishing they could go home. He prods her to eat. Lucy hasn't been able to eat since she lost her mother. Daniel wants to shield her from what the police find. When Lucy insists she can handle it, she reminds him that it's just the two of them. Her father says there is a line between keeping her up to speed and exposing her to every detail. Lucy protests that she has the right to hear. He explains he's made a decision to keep her safe and she needs to go along with it. Things will get insane until there is another suspect. He reminds her that they know he's innocent, but the cops don't. That's why he's sending her to Vancouver to go on tour with Danny. Lucy refuses, but he insists. Things are going to get a whole lot worse for me before they get better, he warns. Lucy asks if she's supposed to stay away forever. Daniel's sure the truth will come out eventually. Lucy swears she can handle this, but he says it's his job to protect her. Summer interrupts and Lucy explains her dad wants to send her away. That could be fun, says Summer. Her niece thinks she would just be worried. Summer admits sending her away might not be the best idea. She might get more worried if she is being kept in the dark. Daniel says he'll tell her what she needs to know. Lucy wants to be there to support her dad. If he sends her away, it will feel like she's lost him too. Daniel assures her that this is only temporary and she will not lose him. As he insists his plan is the right one, Christine arrives and backs this up. Christine has the jet ready to take Lucy to Danny. Leaping up, Lucy declares she needs a minute and walks off. Summer wants to go after her, but her brother tells her not to. After having talked to the cops, Christine admits that the case against Daniel isn't as weak as she expected. Kids in the media can be vicious and will traumatize Lucy when they find out what he's accused of. Daniel thanks her for coming. It's giving him a glimmer of hope. Summer wanders off, and Daniel asks Christine if the cops found anything at the apartment that will help get him out of this situation. Christine tells Daniel that first, he has to tell her his side for the story. Then she will try to figure out a way to get him out of this nightmare. Summer finds Lucy pacing outside society and suggests that it might be a good idea for her to stay with Danny. If she stays there, her dad will be so worried about her, it will only make things worse for him. Summer reminds the teen that her dad won't be alone. She and Phyllis will have his back. Diane goes to the athletic club bar and sadly orders a drink. She nearly tears up as she pulls off her ring. Kyle storms in and demands the truth. Did she ever actually love him and his father? Or were they just tools she used to get what she wanted? She asked why it's okay for him to want power and success, but not her. She wanted love, both with Jack and the kind of love they had when Kyle was little. Diane insists her love for her son never died, not even when she cut him loose from Jabba. When she and Jack reunited, she fell for him harder than she thought was possible. Finally, she thought she got something right. Her love for Kyle and Jack was real, and it always will be. Kyle doesn't believe it. His mom says she never meant for anything to play out this way. At her front door, Sharon throws her arms around Nick and tells him she's tried to keep it up but can't. It's just too much. As she pants, he leads her to the couch and urges her to take a breath and relax, while he gets her some tea. Before he can do that, Sharon tells him she's a terrible person and can't live with herself after all the pain she's caused. He insists she's kind and compassionate. Sharon says she's other things too. He's not shocked that she's rattled after what she's been through. In her head, she argues with herself about what to tell him before asking for a cup of tea. As Nick goes off to the kitchen, Sharon stands and leans on the mantel. Nick returns with tea, and she tells him how much it means that he shows up. He assures her that she's no burden and can tell him anything. Nick wants to help and tells Sharon she can trust him. Sharon weighs whether she can risk telling him what she's done. After she eats something, Nick tells her how much he and the kids want her to be happy. She doesn't need to feel guilty about leaning on them. But if they are going to help, Sharon needs to open up. He promises to be there for her, no matter what. She looks around for Cameron. He's not there. I need some air, she declares, running for the door. Sharon and Nick go to the park. She says she has been feeling so cooped up and is relieved she has a therapy session coming up. Nick points out he's there now, and that she's been making serious statements about not being able to live with things. Again, he urges her to open up. She admits that Daniel came by and said some things he likely wouldn't have said if he wasn't swallowed up by grief. That made her feel like a horrible person. She explains that she went to see Heather the night she was killed, and Daniel was desperate to know what they talked about. Nick admits that Phyllis already told him she went to see Heather. Sharon wonders what else she said. Nick claims she was all worked up and rambling. Sharon wants details. Nick admits that Phyllis thinks she killed Heather. That makes Sharon livid. Nick is sure that Phyllis is grasping at straws and tries to reassure Sharon, insisting no one will believe what his other ex thinks. When Sharon asks if he thinks it was suspicious that she didn't tell the cops about going to see Heather, Nick says he's sure it just slipped her mind. Sharon assumes that Phyllis is just looking for someone to blame. Anyone would do the same. He thinks that trying to pin a murder on someone is going further than most people would. He's sure that Sharon would never do something like that. She tells him his support means a lot to her. Nick doesn't want any of this to reverse the progress she's made. That doesn't stop her from worrying. Sharon understands now where Daniel got the idea that she's responsible. Phyllis has been whispering. She declares that she's starting to feel like she's the one being framed. Nick's sure Phyllis will let this go. Sharon stares and thinks to herself that she needs to deal with Phyllis and stop this nightmare before it's too late.